where we're talking about choosing your hard path, things that are too hard for most people to deal with, and the difficulties that we all mostly face, and how I myself come about that when it comes to my own personal goals, what I would like to achieve as well through this year, 2025, but also for anyone else that is starting on the path of their fitness journey, their routine to get something started for themselves, which, as we say as personal trainers, January is usually the golden month for us, where we see a massive influx of people looking for new goals, new meaning in their life, and obviously around their physical health. And by February, usually that sort of falls off, that excitement phase, and then people are faced with the reality of sticking with it and keep going with their, obviously, what they're trying to push for to get those results. Now, the very first thing that I like to point out with most people is working with short-term goals, so the immediate things that you can make changes to, versus your long-term goals. So long-term goals can be losing 10 kilos in the next 12 weeks, or even the next 12 months, having a massive change in your physical, obviously composition, but also working towards a goal. If you want to go for your first marathon, if you want to have your first amateur boxing fight, those sort of goals, which is mainly what I deal with most of the time with most people that are reaching out for what I do to get them in the best shape possible to perform at the best as they can within a time frame of, let's say, 12 months. So that's a very long-term goal that you can obviously work towards, and it's important to write those down, to talk about it, and to obviously aim towards that. But it all sort of the best way to do it is to break it down as short as possible. The reason being is that we're not really the best at working towards long-term goals, especially when you don't get the results that you're after, or if you're not getting there quick enough. I think that's where most people sort of slacken off and give up, is they're not sticking to it. And the whole reason, if you are starting a physical goal for yourself, you're not doing it for the result. You're doing it so you don't stop. So if you're looking to lose weight, you're doing it to keep the weight off. It's not something that you're going to start and go through this cycle of changing different gyms, changing your training, your diet, because of you've started and stopped again. So it's something that's very common amongst a lot of people, and even with myself, what I do is it's basically like a kickstart program where I'm basically kickstarting someone off again from their previous results or goals that they've had. So I'm very firm and a big believer on maintaining the current momentum that you have. So working on your small wins every single day, the small little habits that you can change is what's going to make the biggest difference for you. So breaking that down from a long term, so let's say it's 12 weeks, I would say I'll break that down into 4 weeks, then going down into like a whole day, working how your ideal, not your perfect, but your ideal day would look like. And it's very straightforward. It's quite easy to look into the amount of time. First thing that always comes to my mind, and it's very true with all of us, is how much time we waste on social media and just staring at our phone, Netflix, and just being distracted. So just distractions. Trying to eliminate that and start off with a not to do list. Things not to do will get you a lot further quicker, and realize what time you do have throughout the day for yourself. If you're super busy, if you're a parent, if you have other priorities in your life, then that's something you have to look at, is working out the time difference it would take for you to do each and every single day to work towards that specific goal. And that's the way to go about it. So best way to do it is obviously look at each hour of the day, write down what you need to do to prioritize, and allow yourself time in between, obviously. And then you've got travel time if you do travel to work. If you don't, if you've got more time at home, if you work from home, which I find most people get too complacent and again waste their time that way. So they're sleeping in, they're choosing poor habits to set themselves back instead of setting themselves up for success, to push forward, which is picking your hard. That's what today's episode's about, is pick your hard. What is hard to you? Is it hard to be overweight and watching Netflix, wasting your time? Or is it hard to skip the Netflix, get to a fitness class, go out for a jog, work on your routine, work on anything that obviously puts you forward to get ahead? So those the two types of hard. So whichever one you're going to choose is obviously not easy, and that's the biggest thing I find for everyone. The reason why we go through these like cycles of being super motivated, losing a lot of weight before summer, in spring, or the start of the year, which we're in that phase right now. And to me, like, it's super unrealistic why people want to start the new year with a new goal. Very unrealistic, because you just gotta stick to it. Like, there's nothing really different, nothing really special this time of the year. It's the same time as halfway during the year. It's you got the same amount of hours, everything's the same, except for what you sort of believe and get caught up on with what everyone else is sort of doing. And I guess people like myself trying to create new challenges, new ways of pulling you into a new sort of cycle to join one of our programs and to take advantage of that. And that's why we call it the January is really the golden month for any sort of gym or fitness professional out there, because everyone's got the new sort of new goal that they want to work towards, which again, best way to do that is to work on the short term, to work on the distractions and the things that are holding you back. Poor diet, not enough physical activity, just choices that aren't pushing you forward. Instead of saying, I've got a new goal in the long term, I want to lose 30 kilos in 12 months. That all sounds great, but by February, by next month, that honeymoon phase, that excitement's it's gonna wear off, and the only thing that's gonna keep you going and not stopping towards that goal is what you are doing what you are doing every single day. It's very simple. The other one I like to talk to, sort of point out, is a sort of a it's something that I use myself, like a mantra, and it's quite simple, but it's just, again, for this time of the year, even for myself, I've got so many goals. Last year I wrote down what I wanted to do this year, and it's like a whole sheet of personal goals, financial goals, in my love life, in my family, obviously my own business as well, the growth that I want to achieve. And it all comes down to one thing, and the phrase that I use, it's very simple. So if the phrase is, if not now, when? And that there is so true when it comes to kickstarting yourself off towards getting started, and not just relying on the right time. So like if you think you're doing something now because you feel like it's the right time and you're still not getting started, then you're probably going to wait till next year till the new year's resolution comes around, and it probably comes back to you again. You're like, oh shit, I thought about that last year, maybe this year's the right year to do it. Which again is complete bullshit. You are just creating some sort of fantasy within yourself that there's going to be a perfect time. There is never a perfect time. If not now, when? That's the motto that I run by, and something I sort of live by, but also teach that and coach that into everyone, that if now's not the right time, when is the right time to do anything? So yeah, if you're looking at getting started to your 30 kilo goal in 12 months, you're not going to wait 12 months and go, I'm going to get started in 12 months. You're going to get started right now with whatever resources, whichever sort of level you're at. I guess now you've got the momentum that it is the start of a new year, and you've got that inside you, as everyone does this time of the year. I guess maybe you might still be on holidays, you might still be enjoying the off time, but getting back into it, like it's very important that you do get started and you do understand that if you get started with a goal, you're not starting just for the results, you're starting to stick to it. And that's very important. Unless you've got different types of goals, once you've hit one, you're happy to go on to the next thing as well, which is sort of how I work and operate with most things. So that's my motto: if not now, when? If you like to use that, if it works for you, write it down. Next time you've said something, if you have that mental masturbation that we all sort of use, where we just love talking about the next best thing that we're doing, or if you're surrounded by people that are always talking about something new that they've found or they've read about, or a new celebrity, especially someone that's an influencer that has come up with this new scheme that no one has heard about before and it really works, there's a reason why they're always coming up with something new and something different. It's because they're not going to do it, they're not going to do anything. So that's another rule that I sort of have for myself, is not saying what I'm going to do, just go out, just actually do it. Start doing it at least, without putting it out there and having all these other energies out there that can sort of pull you down and make sure that you don't achieve what you want to do. So that's my second point there as well. And the last one I wanted to talk about is finding ways to join different groups, different communities without joining a gym environment. So the best ones that I'm doing, I'm currently here in Western Sydney. The first one that we have on March the 9th, Sunday, March the 9th, is a charity walk run for dementia. And I believe that's through Dementia Australia. So if you are in Western Sydney, it's here in Penrith, March the 9th. So if you'd like to come down, I will be running the warm-up for the whole event. So if you'd like to join myself and my other Goliath members that'll be joining on the day, it's completely family friendly. There's different sections. I believe it's like a 3, 5 or 10 kilometer. You can walk, jog or run the whole event. I'm pretty sure we're all just going to sort of stick together as one group and just be happy to participate in the event, and obviously everything goes towards charity. If you want to join things like that, that's the way to go towards, like, if you want to talk about long-term goals, that's how you sort of structure that out. But then you sort of bring it back to the immediate goals. So let's say these charity events, or let's say like City to Surf, which is 14 kilometers. If you're really serious, you want to go for like your first half marathon, 21.5 kilometers, and you've never ran, let's say, 10 kilometers before in your life, you're not going to start off and run 21 and a half kilometers on day one. You're going to fail, and you're most likely going to get injured. You are going to find it very hard to recover from that as well. So it's going to put you off, which a lot of people, that happens quite easily, where they might sustain an injury, which completely puts them off for the rest of their life to go for another jog, let alone sort of participate in an event like that. Where the best way to go about that, again, if that's a long-term goal you have written down, if you're working towards, then you want to structure that down to the smallest amount of time and intensity that you can possibly do right now. So instead of going for 10 kilometers, you're probably just going to start with 1 kilometer for like the first 4 weeks, and improve that time, improve the frequency that you run 1 kilometer throughout the week. I wouldn't be running every single day. I'll allow yourself to have one day off, and then mix that up with maybe like a bike ride, some low impact boxing, swimming, low impact exercise, which still boosts up your fitness levels to obviously get to that sort of level. Then from there, you can sort of start structuring it out, having strength programs involved, looking for a running coach, getting more information, start tracking. The sooner you track, the more you can measure your results and your progress. That's another big thing, is most people are just so afraid to jump in front of the camera to take the before photos, or even just get a DEXA scan. I find it absolutely crazy that people are just like, I don't want to see the DEXA scan, I don't want to see my whole body structure, where my fat is hiding and sitting. And I'm like, yes you do, because in 6 months time, if you stick to this, you're going to be like, I wish back then I got it done. And that's just so common. So If not now, when? When do you want to get it done? In 6 months' time? Or do you want to start now and look at where you're currently at to know your progress? Nothing beats progress. And then on top of that is just sticking to it. Nothing beats not giving up. Just stick to it. Stick to the process to see your progress over time. So that there, back to the running, the going for your 14k kilometer run if you're going to do the city surf. That's how I would structure it. Where it's over time and you're measuring through. If you've got a GPS watch or if you've got your phone with an app, I prefer that, which shows each run that you're doing and it sort of tracks it for you, your progress, what your time is per kilometer. So if you started with 1 kilometer for the first 4 weeks, I will then go month number 2 where I'll do 3 kilometers once a week, and then maybe 1, 5 or 7 kilometer once a week. So now you're doing 2 long distance runs towards that goal, and you start working out how quick you're going per kilometer. That's how I sort of structure that out to work towards the big one where you're getting close to it, and then you start pushing yourself to sort of get to that distance, but it's only because you started off with a very small sort of intensity and frequency to get you there with enough time, without getting any injuries, without overworking yourself, without putting yourself off as well. So like being too fatigued and tired after each session, after each workout. Another common thing that most people don't realize, it's not so much, it's hard to go and do your workout, go and do what needs to be done or that's required, and then you feel good straight after that, but also in between you're going to feel fatigued, you're going to feel like you're still in the recovery phase before you have to go out again. And I don't think that's talked about enough, where that's the difference between people that stick to it and really get to such a high level, especially like if you're competing against someone else. That's what it all comes down to, how quick you can bounce back from a setback, or even if you're just not feeling like it, you're just going to go and do another boxing class, go in for another run. You're going to keep pushing yourself to keep going, do another home gym workout, regardless of how you feel, of what happens last time. Even if it's an injury, like having a setback like that puts a lot of people off. So that's how I tackle that with the long-term goals. I think I'm racing on a little bit too much with that. And that's about it for today. So yeah, thank you for joining me. Very first session for this year. Very keen to keep this going. Please, if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. That would help me out a lot. And if you are listening to this on the podcast, if you can please follow, leave a comment, give me some feedback, keep this going and see where we can go from here for this year. And that's it from me. We'll catch you in the next one.